Hello guys, welcome back to another video. And today I want to talk to you guys about a concept or an idea that we are all very familiar with. A sort of thing that we are all always doing. And that idea is to ask for advice. And so now asking for advice is a very normal thing to do. It is something you would do when you feel lost, maybe confused, or simply uneducated. And for the majority of the time, that is fine. That is okay. It is okay to ask someone for advice. Like, hey, what did you do? Or how did you deal with this current predicament that I'm in? Or how would you deal with this situation based on your experiences or based on your understanding of things? And that can be a great thing, asking for advice. It gives you a sense of guidance. But there's a certain dangerous element about asking for too much advice. And let me explain what that is. Oftentimes when we get advice, we perceive it that like, wow, if it worked for him, if it worked for her, if it worked for this person, if it worked for that person, it has to work for me. And that is a lie. That is a trap a lot of people get into. And that just causes further and more discouragement rather than encouragement. It doesn't necessarily address the core issue. It doesn't address the core principles or the fundamentals. No. What it really does is that now you're constrained to the fact that, like, oh, well, it worked for this person. It didn't work for me. So maybe there's something wrong with me. And that is the illusion I am getting at. Just because something worked for someone else, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to work out for you. And we have to accept and understand that as human beings, that, hey, maybe our path is different. Maybe our journey is different. And once we begin to accept and once we begin to realize that, we will begin to find solutions to our problems. And so that's what I mean by, hey, you can ask someone for advice. That is perfectly fine. That is perfectly okay. Go ask that person for advice. Get their insight on it. But that doesn't mean you have to do everything they did. That doesn't mean you have to expect the same results they did through the same method they did. Just because it worked for someone else, that doesn't entice it or make it entitled for it to work towards you. That is the key principle of advice that people fail to understand. And it's honestly very damaging. And so that's what I'm trying to preach to you guys. Like, hey, if just because it didn't work for you and it worked for someone else, that is okay. And that leads me to my next point about trial and error. Oftentimes when we feel lost and we're on uncertainty, you just need to start trying things, man. You can ask someone like, hey, what do you do here? What do you do there? But maybe that's not always a solution. If you're someone that's always asking other people before you even try yourself, you have weak resolve, you're not strengthening your resolve, and you're going to struggle down the line. What happens if that person disappears the next day? What happens if you move to a new city and you know nobody and you are in a difficult situation? You've built this dependency on other people so frequently that you can't even think of an ideal for yourself. And I think about this with, let's say, something as simple as calculus, something as simple as math. It's like, okay, I don't understand the question. So I have two options. The first option is, hey, I can go ask my friend, like, hey, can you explain this to me? Can you teach me how to do this? Or the second option is, well, maybe I should try first. Maybe I should try something on my own before I go seek the answer. Maybe I need to actually experiment, and maybe that will be the best way for me to learn, rather than just chasing after the answer right away. And it's the same principle with advice. You can ask for advice, that's fine, but try things on your own. Try things before you go directly in hopes of finding the solution. Try to find it yourself before asking someone else for what the solution may be. And I truly do believe that when we do that, and when we are able to find a solution through our own means, through our own hard work, it creates a stronger sense of resolve, and it creates a sense of the fact that, wow, maybe this thing won't repeat again. And overall, it strengthens your ability and your critical thinking and your self-belief as a human being. So that is one of my key pieces of advice, guys. And let me know if you resonate or agree with me in the comments. And thank you for listening, guys.